Welcome back, First Cycle League Challengers. In the last video, we identified the problem, and in this video, we will share recommendations on doing research to identify a problem. After you have identified a problem, you'll need to conduct research when you design your solution. So, in this video, we will go over how to conduct research and how to do it effectively.
Conducting research is a three-step process. Step 1 is to formulate questions based on the challenge statement. Look for keywords. Step 2 is to find relevant answers to your questions through trusted websites and experts in the fields. Finally, Step 3 is to document your findings. Add relevant links to the document.
Step 1 is to pick apart the topic. As a recap, the problem statement for City Shaper was identify a problem with a building or public space in your community. Again, City Shaper is just an example from the 2019 to 2020 season. Just like we picked apart the topic when identifying the problem, we're going to do it again. So first, you want to underline the keywords that define the theme. In this problem statement, we underline the words building, public space, and community. And now that we've picked apart the keywords, you need to ask yourself, what do these three terms mean?
In order to research efficiently, you should have an idea of what to look for. To begin with, search up existing solutions to your problem. Your goal is to find what's wrong with these existing solutions so you can make sure your product doesn't make those same mistakes. You can look at its pricing, the shape or size, and its disadvantages, just to list a few. Based off of these factors, you can ensure your solution is better than the existing solutions. Next, you want to find something wrong with your solution. Try to find something online that is similar to your solution and find something wrong with it. Remember, you're not going to find your exact solution online since your solution is unique, but you never know what you can find online, and maybe you'll find something related to your solution that you can use to make sure your solution works. A general tip: when searching, search for something that applies to your solution and the keywords. This is why the keywords are so important, because if your solution doesn't apply the keywords, then it won't be relevant to the topic, ultimately making your solution useless. However, if you followed along in the beginning of this video, you'll know that we use keywords to make a solution, so you won't have any issues doing this step.
Let's take an FLL team that we interviewed for example. If you recall from our identifying a problem video, they wanted to create stairs that were also ramps. Just like how we explained in the last slide, they searched up existing solutions and they did find some. Two solutions they noted were a wheelchair that could go downstairs and a pre-attached chair to a wall that can carry someone up the wall. The problem with the existing solutions is that they were too expensive and that many places would not be able to afford them. This was some really important information because now they knew that their stairs to ramp solutions has to be less expensive than the existing solutions to be better than them. Now they found what was wrong with the existing solutions, they wanted to find what was wrong with their solution. So they found an article saying that making stairs to ramps would be too steep, so they had to jot this down. And this actually turned out to be really helpful because later they met with an engineer to discuss the steepness of their stairs to ramps, and they made sure that their stairs to ramps wasn't too steep, because if it were too steep, it wouldn't be able to be built. So this one search basically saved their project.
A really nice tip is to change the search wording. Online research is not as straightforward as just typing a phrase and hitting enter. You need to refine the search, and part of this comes from experimenting with keywords and filters. Changing the keywords you use allows you to really dig into a subject and find specific, useful sources that relate to or inform your research question. Who knows? You might get something useful that you weren't even looking for. Here's an example of how changing the wording can change the outcome. Let's say we're working with the stairs to ramp example. I want to know how stairs to ramps may be used in a building. I want to know this because building was one of the keywords we found in the beginning of the video. This is what I found.
Now I want to know how stairs to ramps may be used in a public space. I want to know this because quote unquote public space was also one of the keywords we found in the beginning of the video. This is what I found. So as you can see, there was a difference in the results when we changed the wording of what we searched, and this is why experimenting with search wording is so important.
Now that you know some search tricks, let's go over what websites to visit. You wouldn't go to an auto mechanic if you broke your leg, and you wouldn't go to the hospital to have your car repaired. That's the obvious point. Look for websites that specialize in the kind of information you're seeking. So, if you're writing a story on a flu outbreak, check out medical websites, such as the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and so on. You also want to make sure that the website you're visiting is trustworthy to make sure that the information you get from the website isn't false.
When researching, you want to make sure that any websites you visit are trustworthy. Trustworthy websites are usually government websites, nonprofit organizations, foundations, or college and universities. These include websites with .edu, .gov, and .org or .org at the end of the URL. For example, the first website has .org at the end, so you can trust it.
Sites run by companies and businesses, their websites usually end in .com, are more often than not trying to sell you something, and if they're trying to sell you something, chances are whatever information they're presenting will be tilted in favor of their product. That's not to say corporate sites should be excluded entirely, but be wary. As a reporter, you need the most up-to-date information available, so if a website seems old, it's probably best to steer clear. One way to check. Look for a last updated date on the page or site. Articles or studies whose authors are named often, though not always, are more reliable than works produced anonymously. It makes sense. If someone is willing to put their name on something they've written, chances are they stand by the information it contains. And if you have the name of the author, you can always Google them to check their credentials. If a site looks poorly designed and amateurish, chances are it was created by amateurs. Sloppy writing is another bad sign. Steer clear. But be careful. Just because a website is professionally designed doesn't mean it's reliable. Although some sites may seem untrustworthy, this does not mean you're not allowed to look at them. We just encourage you to decide for yourself whether or not what you're reading is true or false. For example, a blog post may have links to other, more credible websites. In that case, you can either go to the linked website or trust that part of the blog post.
Always cite your evidence. Plagiarism is when you copy someone else's work, and when you cite your evidence, you avoid plagiarizing. MLA or Modern Language Association style is the most commonly used to write papers and cite sources within liberal arts and humanities. Use an MLA citation or just the URL for bare minimum citation. And if you don't know how to use MLA citation, it's always good to use easybib.com as a resource.
This is EasyBib. It's a great tool to use for MLA citation. To get here, type in easybib.com into your browser. Now that we're here, just ignore everything else on the site and click Create Citations. Now that we're here, you can choose whether you want to cite a website, book, journal, or something else. For more options, you can click the More tab. Let's say I want to cite this Time article. First, I need to copy the URL. After that, I can click Website since it's a website. All I need to do now is paste the link of the website here and it'll bring up this page. Now I click Cite. Now we just need to fill out some information here. Sometimes EasyBib automatically fills it out for you, which is nice. Now we click Complete Citation. Sometimes it'll ask you to view a sponsored message. You want to click that and then view the ad. Once it's over, you'll have access to your citation. Now we just need to hover over the citation and click Copy. Now, you can paste the citation wherever you want on your document.
You now need a place to store your research. To do that, make a shared document. These are great for organizing all your research and they ensure that information does not get lost. Also, using one document saves time since you won't have to shift through multiple documents to find what you're looking for.
In addition to a shared document, you can use subdocuments to break down your research. Here's an example of a shared document structure when identifying your problem. Let's say that your team has two main ideas when identifying your problem. As you can see here, this team assigned two different people to each idea to research. These two people collaborate and work on one document, and finally, two subdocuments combine to one shared document.
Thank you for watching. Now that you know how to conduct research, you can now go and watch our video on designing a solution. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe so that this video series can be recommended to many other FLL students just like you.